Hello, this is Michael from Blue Gem Tarot. Today's pick a card reading is going to be called People's Secret Impressions of You. We have 3 piles with 3 chakra bottles of oil, essential oil, of course. Okay, for the first pile we have the heart chakra, for the second we have the crown, and for the third we have the solar plexus chakra. Okay, the rules for the read are going to be pick what resonates, leave the rest. This is a general reading, keep that in mind. If you like, you can actually pick multiple piles so long as it resonates with you, you find yourself in the read, and you can say like literally this is about me. If you don't like the read, or if you don't agree with something I told you in your specific pile, don't come at me in the comment section, because I don't have time for that. I channel information. If it's not about you, maybe it is not. Completely fine for me. Still, you can comment because these are actually contributing to the channel's popularity, so you can argue. That's something that's not very eye-pleasing specifically, but yeah, it helps. Somehow it does. So, what else can I say? Those are timeless, gender specific. I told they are not. You can switch, so if I talk about an energy, if I talk about 2 people in a read, okay, they can be switched, changed. If I'm talking about a lover, for example, and you feel like, I most likely describe the person you're thinking of, and the other one is actually you, it can literally be the case. So yeah, remain open to that, and treat the reading in a very relaxed, open way. Be open-minded to it, and see how you can fit the general information I give you to your specific life situation. To those of you who commented below with your support and appreciation, and with the reassurance that it resonates, I'm really grateful and thankful for that. Your comments are the contribution and the reason why the channel is going, because I gained a lot of confidence from the comment section, confirming that what I read is actually true and accurate, from other tarot readers as well, and from people, of course. Also very important comments, very important feedback for me. At times it really helps me understand that I'm actually not insane, and that I'm channeling for real people. It's kind of funny, but thank you. Like, this means a lot to me. Even those all of you, like especially those who decided to donate, like you are my special people. Yeah, this is, I think, all for the introduction section. Let's jump right into the reading with pile number 1. By the way, I will be taking cards live. You might be hearing shuffling in the background, but you will see the image, so you'll have the final picture of every single card I took for your pile, but I'll be channeling those live. That's gonna be the style of the reading for this one. Okay, pile number 1, those of you who chose the heart chakra oil bottle. Okay, now this is quite funny. Secret impressions as well is going to be things people didn't say or won't say or keep in secret, as I said, for different reasons, I guess. But we have in here the toy, okay? The toy card. Secret impressions of you. Now, this is coming off as very cute energy, very playful, very innocent, very, 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 very pure. People's impressions of you are very specific in the direction of them being adorable. People find you being adorable, or people want to protect you. People want, or they see that core innocent energy, like the same energy you'd see in a child or in an like animal. The way, like a really cute kitten, for example, or a really cute dog, like that feeling where you want to protect it. as well. It's very refined in a way, it's very noble somehow, it's very like, people get an impression that you are a very high standard, also very opinionated, and at the same time, like, I don't know, attentive to details. I think this is marginally talking about a sense of being capricious at the same time, but it's the right type of being capricious. It's the type where you know for sure what you like and what you don't like. This is all like a very flowery, a very also sweet and almost like rosy glasses type of impression. I don't know. There is like a lingering sweetness to you that people get. I don't know what you did specifically to create that sort of thing, but with the toy in here as the central card of the reading, and especially the heart chakra, this is a very emotional dynamic, a very emotional dimension of sorts, which creates this aura of like very pink, very sweet, very childlike in nature. I'm not saying this is a pile that is being necessarily like seen as like naive or no. I'm talking about an energy. I'm talking about a way in which you exude an energy into your aura. So it could be like, with that kind of energy, I would pick up like an energy or an aura of a pink color or a pink yellow color. Okay, like this is a very also pervasive energy. It's a very all-encompassing, loving, and as I said, sweetness. That's what's coming to mind with this pile. Also very peaceful. Okay, this, and talking about impressions, and especially it being a toy, I feel like you could be, you know, when you talk, not when you talk, when you walk by a store of toys and you see them being displayed on shelves, and you see all these like very like neatly organized, like very neatly designed dolls or items, or like really like real cute toys, you know, like the squishy ones, the very cute eyes type of scenario toys, you know, that's the kind of energy. And why am I saying that this is royal? Because this feels like a very rare and very high maintenance person coming off from pile number one. You could be invested in your looks, you could be invested in your energy, into your self-expression as well. You could be invested in the ways in which you show and like to be perceived, like very attentive to detail, okay? This is all like core self-expression, and you, I feel like you won't settle for less. You won't settle for like the minimum, you know. This is a pile that likes to live in a more lavish lifestyle, but also a very in tune and very like attentive, soft approach to people in general. So yeah, I feel like, you know, generally speaking, this is like a shining star type of person, like a gentle flower type of person coming off from pile number one. And this is, mind you, I'm channeling only one card. This is so interesting. It's also the same feeling I'm reading with this pile that you get from looking at an art piece, because when I look at art, I see the details, I see the small things, like every single stroke of the brush is very important. It can contribute to the overall image or the impression you get from a painting in the good or a bad way. So it feels like this pile, the impression you get, the people's impressions are that you are very intricately um, like creating your, displaying your character, displaying the way in which you look. So also, like as I said, if this if you are like into makeup, if you are into like uh, trinkets, whatever, like small things that would contribute to the overall image of yours. Definitely a pile about about these. So yeah, that's only, mind you, I say it's only for the first card. Yeah, let's see what the others will say. I also wanted to say that the people around you, they have this overall aura of they don't want to upset you, they don't want to trigger, or they don't want to make a, like, your day bad somehow. And like very gentle, very 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 gentle energy, very also easily to upset. But I want to stress out the fact that it feels to me like people don't want to upset you, okay? um, and this is also for the people who are going to say like, oh, I don't know, this is about me. This is core energy. That means whether you covered it up, whether you did all what's in your power to, I don't know, be strong and avoid that, I don't know, it just like seems like it's a very core attribute or aspect of who you are, and a very valuable one, because this is noble energy, because this is very gentle and refined energy. I would never avoid cultivating qualities such as this one in myself, for example. So I don't know what you think about this, but I would definitely want to be like this if I don't have such qualities already. But again, a very people, when they think of you, when they picture you in their mind, they think of you of a person who's very picky, but in the good sense. Like, present things and present yourself in the best way for pile number one, because they will appreciate it. They will somehow blossom and open up even more. The Gambler in reverse. I feel like with this card you could be very honest. Again, purity, it's definitely something about this pile. With risk and loss in reverse and the Gambler, you are a very pure person. You are a very honest and integrity driven, authentic type of person. You could be slow paced, people could recognize that, but when you are slow paced like that, you like build your way up into something in a very quality oriented style. So it's a very beneficial energy I'm reading in here. So as well, with risks in reverse, you are for like the quality, like for the slow paced quality in something, and not the rushed explosive energy, like a very organized, a very orderly person we have in here as well. And people really appreciate your honesty. I feel like you've got a lot of people, friends, whatever relationships you've got there, that they feel safe with you. They feel like there is no blind spot, they're not going to be blindsided. Maybe that's the way in which you say it. Like, they are not going to be stabbed in the back by you. And I feel like you occupy a very honorable place in a lot of people's lives, and they regard you as being very, like, a very important, a very precious relationships a very precious relationship that they got. And with the impression, it's like as if this purity, this honesty, this angel-like, childlike innocence and purity is being conveyed, and people can pick on that energy. The aspirant in reverse, ambition, diligence, setbacks. Again, this is a pile which will go about creating stuff in life in a very like foundational, again, manner. This is not an explosive temperamental pile, but as well, like, I'm not like fearful for the people that are going to upset you, but if people manage to somehow get on your bad side and really invite bitterness into your life, it feels like it's game over, and they have much more to lose if they are in bad terms with you. And I feel like as well, you've got some sort of energy and aspect of community support with this pile, where a lot of good things, a lot of good stuff is being conveyed, said about you, and like, people can't hate you. Like, literally, that's the energy I'm picking up. as if, you know, if you would have had, or if you have haters, they would be quickly shut off because your reputation is way too calm, peaceful, and good for people to even try to get at you. So this is, I don't think you're power hungry, but this is literally the case where you don't seek it, but it's yours, and because you treat people kindly, you treat them rightly. And rightfully so. I feel like this pile can be actually very clueless about this, but you are being regarded as, like, you are being seen in very high, referred to in high regards, okay? This is very respectful, very, like, people don't want to interfere, they don't want to get into your way, like, in the good sense. Like, I would say this pile can have the quality of being expressive, but you are opening up, like, you are showing your best sides. Oh my god, sometimes I'm hearing myself talk and I'm like, yeah, is that all? Just kidding. But no, this, like, the best sides. I should try to express myself differently. There is something about your pile being very slowly, like, very slowly opening up. This is not a pile that is very extroverted as well. It's a very peaceful, and, you know, there are flowers, like, I'll give you a metaphor. There are flowers which are very, like, colorful, very, like, so, like, scented, so the smell is so powerful that it's actually annoying. With this pile, it's literally the opposite. It's, I would say, if I were to compare you to a flower, you'd be like a very gentle, with a very genius design type of flower, you know. Simplicity, but power in that simplicity. Also a very, let's say, not a very powerful scent, but a very sweet and a very pleasant one. And, you know, if I were to picture you being a flower, I can't literally believe I'm saying that. I would I would say, like, people would be, like, in love with the scent of the flower and, like, sniffing desperately for a tint of that. Like, very, also this could be, like, talking about you, like, you could be not very expressive in general, but when you express yourself, people are generally very silent and also very eager to see what's next. It's as if people would like to leave you in peace so that you can thrive on your own, and they would be very happy to look at, like, whatever it is that you're creating, whatever it is you are expressing. Again, with a toy, it's the same feeling when you leave a child, like, you don't create distressful experiences or circumstances around them, and you all of a sudden see, like, this very calm, peaceful, constructive way in which they do something, and, like, it's just a very endearing pile, a very endearing sight, let's say, with this one. And again, a very peaceful, non, like, explosive, non-aggressive. Like, this pile, at their core, they are very, like, loving, very also compassionate, empathetic, can be also, and affectionate, very affectionate. I wanted to say that from the start. Okay, I think this is marginally so much weakness in here that I'm gonna take the Black Grimoire cards. King of Swords and Queen of Swords. That's interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting, by the way. And the Tower. Okay, now I see. I want to say this is, like, a very strange and interesting combination in here. Either it is one case or another. You have either dormant or energies of what I'm gonna say. They could be, like, on purpose, you're not displaying them. with the Queen and the King of Swords, this is like an extreme, or this is like a polarity. I outlined the qualities of yours that you're consciously either working on, or no, it's not actually working on, because this is the impression. Qualities which you cultivated and they are yours. But I feel like as well, you can choose with your free will to play into the King of Swords and the Queen of Swords energy, which is very, let's say, energy saving. And again, I could say this is talking about the people that would be on your bad side. I feel like you are generally sweet, kind, and squishy, but with the Tower and the Queen of Swords and the King of Swords, people, if they step on your toes, they can feel like they can stumble on very harsh, very non-forgiving, let's say, energies in you. I feel like you are genuinely working on yourself in such a way that you don't want to exude such like harsh energies. But the reality with pile number one is you give chances, quite a lot of them, to people. You're used to giving chances. You're used to presenting yourself in this very squishy, soft energy, and you thrive in that energy. But unfortunately, there are times where that has been tested countless times. And I feel like either you handled these people in the past in a very harsh way and they weren't expecting it, but with the Tower, I would say rightfully so. Rightfully so, because it feels like with that kind of set I was talking about, which is yours, like in nature, you should have very strong boundaries. And I definitely feel like you do have them, because we have in here the King and the Queen. Because the King is wearing like a mask sort of thing, I want to say you can both fake it, like the negative attitude. You can be so loving that at times it can feel like you should pretend that you hate people so that you can actually create boundaries. But with the Queen, it's like seconds later you could be very, very straightforward, no masks, direct, no direct. It can literally, it's not necessarily aggression. It can be with the Tower, by the way, but it's an energy of very harsh spoken words, very harsh boundaries, but again, it's like this pile is about the metaphor of, you being like I can't believe I'm giving so many metaphors with you, like with other objects, plants, whatever. But I guess that will happen. Let's say we have a jar of honey, okay? If we introduce the smallest amount of a bitter, like let's say a teaspoon of bitter, like whatever substance in there, you spoil it. You spoil the whole jar, okay? So it's like 1 teaspoon of something that's really inappropriate being displayed with pile number 1, and the person is out, okay? And they can be out in a very slow-paced way, meaning that in time they could be slowly cut off, but eventually I feel like the order is being reinstalled with pile number 1, with pile number 1's boundaries, okay? I feel like you have this innate desire to be to present the world in this sweet and almost like honey-like quality or property in relationships. But when you are being given the input of something that's very toxic, abusive, and marginally speaking very inappropriate, this pile could make a 180 like degrees shift, and they could be literally chasing the person who was intently trying to cross a boundary. Like, this is not even aggression, this is cutting off. This is cutting off energy. This is very sharp, very like warrior type of energy, but also not interested in the actual process of arguing, just cutting off the energy, just cutting off the person or the abusive behavior. Also because I feel like all of the sweetness, all of the energy you tried to invest in yourself as being like this, and I feel like this is innate, like peaceful, loving, it's all being spoiled by this negative influence. And I feel like you recognize that you have to be cutting, you have to be very, very sharp with influences such as these, because they influence the overall system of yours, and they overwhelm, they get in the way of that like sweetness, they get in the way of that like very grounded, peaceful type of energy, which not only has this negative impact on you, on your well-being, but as well on the people that you love. And when it crosses the boundary, first of all with you, and second of all with others, I feel like this is a huge no. So it's like, for my loved ones, for myself, I'm going to basically fight everything and everyone, okay? Yeah, this pile is not to be messed with. Like, this is the energy I get. This is definitely something about this pile which is not to be, they are not to be underestimated. And mind I say, this is like impressions, okay? People's, like, let's say intuition, people's thoughts, impressions are very, very like keenly directing them to this insight that they shouldn't be messed with. Also, this is the energy of a pile who, like, I saw this meme of someone, like, let's say being very kind and loving, but at the same time, like, don't test my inner gangster, because I was like a um, I was like a gangster in the past. So before I was so loving and peaceful, I was actually a gangster. So don't awaken that in me. And I'm not saying necessarily like this is a gangster type of energy. No, this could be someone who just wants to create the best possible experience for them and for others. Like, they're not only thinking about themselves, but also about the other people's needs and like emotions, or the atmosphere that they bring to the table. And but they are not to be messed with. It's not literally, I'm not saying like you're going to come off after people in a way, but I would definitely say that this pile has consequences for the people who are going to mistreat them. And this is not a pile which is going to be just sitting there and be perceived as a punching bag. No, quite literally the opposite, because it feels like the moment in which you, because tower is very fast energy, like the moment in which you solve the issue, you get to the bottom of it and say like, okay, you're dealt with, you're done, okay? It's like, again, being sweet, like switching off the gangster and being sweet again. And it can be very threatening for people, but at the same time they get this respect for you, and they love the fact that you can stand up for yourself. um yeah. With the Wheel of Fortune in reverse and the Ten of Cups, as I said, if people cross a line, if they cross a boundary, or if they show something that's really inappropriate as like a behavior, whatever, it's game over. I would say people want to get back into your graces. They're very attentive. I want to say in here with the Wheel of Fortune. And also there is a feeling of there is much more to this pile in the future. Like, there is much more they're going to achieve. Or with this set of qualities and attributes, they are going, like, they are in for some huge, huge things in life. This could be milestone successes, but generally speaking, the social aspect I saw there, it's as if people want to be a part of it. Um, yeah, I don't know, in the good or bad way, but yeah, it's like people want to be like this. I want to be in the best, like the most positive, peaceful graces I can be with pile number one, because I feel like the innate value that is being, like, that shows itself up, that is being generated as a result of this, it's so worth it. I want to say with this pile, it's like you being in people's lives and their impressions of you, it's like a very pleasant music to the ear. Also very almost, it's as if people are getting hypnotized. Like, it's very relaxing, almost it makes me feel sleepy. So it could be that your presence could be very peaceful, very relaxing, very um, almost makes people want to sleep, like want to fall asleep, want to relax. They feel replenished. And their impressions as well is that you could be a healer. Their impressions as well is that you could be like trying to hypnotize them on purpose, or that you are very alluring. But this is a type of alluring that it's very, like, as I said, innocent, very like calling people into their child self, reminding them of their innocence as well. But again, the overall energy, like especially because we got in here the Five of Swords as the final card, this is not to be messed with, like big time. This is not a pile which is going to give second chances, because I feel like, you try your best to present yourself to the people. They don't do the same thing in return, so you think to yourself, and this is rightfully so, like, why should I try to give my second chance to someone? Because my first chance was already so much, like, already I was giving so much. Like, couldn't they be decent enough to just basically not mess it up, you know? It's the same feeling when you invest in a long-term project and someone comes in, destroys it or interferes with it, and you realize the magnitude of the project and you say, I can't start this project again with you in my life because look, it was so important to me and you messed it all up. It's like very, very quality, very like powerful first chance with me. And also you could be testing people, you could be giving them you could be playing like clueless, whatever, or you could be very observant. Like, as I now look at the toy card, it's like you're trying to assess the situation and realize whether the second chance is just going to be misguided first lost chance. So yeah, generally speaking, it's like the impressions you get, like you are very high maintenance, um, high expectations type of person, and definitely not worth to be in bad terms with you. It's also the feeling when you mess with like an organization that's very popular and you realize that you should have been in better graces with that organization because it has influence, it has networking power, or it has a lot of people they know. Like, it could be that you can be powerful, you could have a very powerful network of people who know about you, and you could be like, yeah, you shouldn't have messed with me, you shouldn't. Okay. And also I feel like this is not fighting warrior type of pile. Is just something that they took on to basically protect, to try to survive, and to protect that innocence, kindness, compassion, and empathy. Because I feel like if you were to not do that, then it would be like all pointless. Like, even the people who benefited from that energy, they could have suffered from this as well. Okay. So, guarding your peace, guarding your love, I think this is very reasonable. I feel like this is very like honorable as well. And don't mess with me, I won't mess with you type of energy. I love that I see this for pile number 1. If it resonated with you, please like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to comment below that you're pile number 1 and that you chose the heart chakra if you want. And yeah, I feel like this is all. Okay. I hope to see you in the future reads. Take care. Okay, moving on to pile number 2. Those of you who chose the crown chakra, your central card is going to be signal. People's impressions and thoughts, yeah, general impressions of you, secret impressions of you. we have the signal, and also I'm quite amazed that this is also the pile with crown chakra. People from pile number 2, you should be some sort of channelers. You could be people with spirituality. You could also be very intellectual people, inspirational people, and people generally look at you and say, like, they are very smart, almost like not from this world type of person. They don't understand why you're so on point with a lot of things you say. With the signals, as if you are being informed by some other people, or they have like a mole. Literally, this feels like the situation I'm talking about. This pile, it's as if people are a bit freaked out. Why they're freaked out? Because something about this pile is very on point, very keen in observation, and also very, how did you know? Like, it's the question that's coming to mind. How did you know? How were you so accurate? You could be having like insights or informational like moments that, or you could be very like, if this is not talking about intuition, it could be talking about very logical assumptions that happen to be very accurate, you know. We could be looking at someone, either like reading them intuitively or logically, and basically coming to some very sound, very accurate conclusions. Okay, with the signal, it's like how are you doing that? Okay, this is a very smart, in tune pile, as well as like as I said, if you're with spirituality, people could regard you, could see you as being very like connected to that. They could say that you are it could feel like you are not at times like necessarily human if you resonate with that message, because you know too much. Okay, it's like this pile knows too much. It's not normal. Okay, with the signal, it's like this is only possible when you have a very strong connection with either, like as I said, a mole, someone who gives them information about the person inquired, or it could be that you are very connected to the divine, to the spiritual aspect, and you know stuff, and you know things that people are basically scared to admit, not only to themselves, not only to you, that but to themselves as well. So it's like a case where, you know, it can't be that you're so on point. It's a little bit scary. It's just like, it's a feeling of people just coming to the table and saying like, could you please shut up, because it's scary. It's could you be silent, could you please not say these things, because it's people don't know what's the next thing that you're going to say about them that is going to be true. And it's as if a lot of them feel like they don't know themselves that well, and when you come into the game and you say stuff, it's like they are scared of what you're going to uncover, and they feel very like naked, let's say, and they feel like not only they're going to be caught up by surprise by the things that you're going to say, but also they are afraid that you're going to see something that's innately negative but actually true, and they feel like they have no defense. Yeah, crown people, like, this is no mistake that you got the crown chakra with this pile, because the signal is like the signal with the cosmos, or the signal with the divine, whatever the case may be for you. Or generally speaking, this is a very connected pile, and people's impressions are that you're a kind of like a, I don't know, delving into magic, delving into stuff like that, or delving into spirituality, that basically you're like, yeah, what do I do with that information? just out there, and I feel the urge to say it. But I want to say it's a very revealing also energy, meaning that you reveal people, you reveal their intentions. If you don't read people, this is not maybe going to be your pile, because this is a very connected, very in tune with the energies around them type of pile. Okay. Of course, for colors, this is purple. This is a dark purple. This is like a cosmic blue, or a very deep blue purple type of combination of like an aura, I would perceive. Like a very deep as well pile, a very complex pile, which is quite interesting because it also gives me people, they get information about you, they think something about you from the start, from this point, like from this like center point, and when they throughout time they get the layers of you, they get who you are truly. And it's a very expansive perception, I want to say. It's as if people generally know you over time. It's not like this pile is being known in a very short period of time. Also a very magical pile, I want to say, with a signal. There is something very not from this earth, very like either it is that you delved into spiritual stuff or practices, but generally speaking, there is something about you that's truly non-material, very alluring, very magical, very like witchy. Can be, no. If you resonate with that. If you don't, then don't come after me, okay? Yeah, let's see what else we have for this pile in regards to people's impressions of you. We have the puppeteer, explanations and apologies, with as well sentinel, determination and certainty. Now, you know, this is marginally very scary, to be honest. The signal, the energy I gave you, it metaphorically reminds me of the eye, like the all-seeing eye, like as a symbol. And with this puppeteer, with this eye in the hand, in the middle of the hand, people are scared that you are going to know too much about them and that you're going to manipulate that information not in their favor. I don't feel like this is necessarily the case with this pile, because this pile feels like they're more so a library of information. You could be gathering information, reading people, but only trying to do that in a very honorable, noble, and to use that information in a very noble way. I don't feel like you are necessarily like trying to exploit that. With the determination and certainty, I can say you could have a very healthy and also integrity driven type of approach with the information that you get from people. I don't feel like necessarily they should be afraid of something, so long as they don't cross real boundaries with you, because with the sentinel you expect, and that's really normal and healthy, and I love that I see that in the reading. You expect a very decent behavior, you expect a very respectful and non-interferent behavior, and you'd like to be an addition to the team. You'd like to be a helpful hand, like in the team, not burden, not like not someone to be messed with, not someone like you'd like to help. You'd like to be helpful in here. I want to say, I don't know whether you realize this or not, but you are a very worthy adversary with the puppeteer, explanations and apologies. People want to get on your good side. They are somehow afraid of some sort of power dynamic or some sort of energy of you possessing power. I don't know what this is. It could be about this thing I talked about with a signal, being able to read people's like literal minds, but people are afraid with a puppeteer. They are afraid that you're going to use that against them. Okay. Let's see. 10 of Pentacles, Temperance. They see you as a very people-oriented person. They see you as a very like let's build strong relationships, let's be they could be seeing, or like I want to say, you can possess qualities of a leader in here by nature of being so helpful, and people are scared that you're going to snatch snatch their wig. No, you're going to snatch their power, their seat of power, whatever. um Somehow it feels like you're overqualified for something like this, if this is work related. What are you doing that people think that you're overqualified? No, it's not. Yeah, it's overqualified. No, that's right, actually. Like overqualified, like being too good at something, almost like being in the context of overqualified, where you're not being appreciated so much for how much you bring to the table. This is the energy that I get, and it's like a very not. I don't want to delve into envious stuff, but I want to say, you've got some people like, if this is work related, you could have helped some people, okay, let's say, and they are like, but I should have been the one to help you. Okay, so um, if you have higher ups, whatever the situation may be, with a puppeteer, it feels like the roles can switch, and it's quite funny, it's quite hilarious with this pile. It's a very small, like it's a very small gesture or a very small instance where it feels like with some sort of higher up or higher ups, you gave off something that completely shifted the tables. Like you became the higher up, and the higher up became your like lower whatever, I don't know how you call this, but it feels like some sort of subordination element has been shifted. I don't know why, how, and but you know, it's a very funny thing that I see in here. It's almost as if something that you exuded with this pile gave an impression, gave like a factual impression that you are so good at something that it's actually scary with the Eight of Pentacles. Like, we won't be able to be that good, you know, at that. Also interesting, because you have in here with the Temperance. As impressions, this is a very also orderly, calm, very reasonable, very attentive, very listening to people's needs and expectations, connected, okay? Not in vain I told you that this is a very leadership type of reading card pile, because with a signal you can have the capacity to read in between the lines. You have the capacity to read not only people's words but also their behaviors, their body language, their tonality of voice. And I want to generally say you have a lot of unused power with the puppeteer, but let's just say you tend to be trying to solve things in like without resorting to the last level of power, which can be that case where you go after someone, okay? Also with the puppeteer in here, it's there is a demeanor in here from pile number 2 which signals that you are high rank, which signals that you are high, some sort of like high rank individual. It could be that something about your demeanor signals authority, power, and yeah, influence, some sort of thing related to that. With the Ten of Pentacles, it can be also a message about people regarding you as being very wealthy, or something about you gives off a very wealthy type of person, a person who has more than enough money, very stable, abundant inflow of money, and yeah, abundance, let's say. Um, you are intriguing with the Ten of Pentacles in here, almost as if people would say, or they get an impression that you work, you have a sort of work activity that generates a lot of income for the least amount of investment or time investment possible. I don't know, maybe it is the case, but also with a signal being in here for the read, it can be the fact that you can have such powerful insights or such powerful knowledge about people and life in general that you can be basically monetizing them, or basically creating a business around it, or creating an exchange of value around this whole thing. So the impressions you get, it's like this person must be wealthy. Like, I don't know, um, either it is that your demeanor, the energy, the aura, the vibe you give off, it's a very like wealthy type of energy, and also this is the type of wealthy which is not going to be very, let's say, out there, like showing people around them how much money they get and like they have, or how much they like to emphasize how high on this ladder they are. I feel like this pile can invest in very small but very let's say expensive things, not because you want to prove anything to anyone, but just because you like expensive stuff. But it can be that you like refined taste in expensive things. So this is not about owning a lot of um, jewelry. This is about, let's say, having a few of them which are very like very intricately thought of in their design, and you could be wearing them. Like, this is a very like, you have a great sense of taste, this pile, and it's a very like also eye-catching thing. I want to say it's interesting because this pile has a more catchy energy to them than the other like comparisons of the piles I've got, maybe also from the past. It's as if, you know, that your energy is calling people in, though I've had that in the past as well, by the way. Why I say that, it's as if, you know, it doesn't really matter what you wear, what what clothes or jewelry you put on yourself. It's all only like an addition to your aura, to your presence, okay? It's all very like, yeah, people look at it and say like, I could watch this all day. Something about you is very mesmerizing, something about you is very like unspoken, unknowable. With a sentinel, it could literally be the case where people feel like you are gatekeeping them, and you'd like to be in control, you know, with a puppeteer. But also, I want to say, when it comes to interactions, you are very, like, as I said, helpful, reasonable, trying to provide something that's a real good addition. Yeah, it's like with the temperance in here, this representation, if you have something of use for someone, you're not going to wait around, you're not going to hesitate, you're not going to basically wait on it, or you're not going to make the person bargain for the information or beg for the information. I feel like you have this aura of a healer as well. I don't know, I said that for pile number one as well. Maybe you're all healers, you don't know, yeah. um but I feel like, you know, because we have this representation of a woman handing like this very pure water, it almost feels like it's not simple water, or it could literally be milk. But this reminds me of like some sort of healing spring from like a movie. It was literally a spring that of water that was revitalizing even like people who were on the brink of death. So this is like, it can be that you or your information or both can be very revitalizing, and people are like, yeah, if people were to realize the value of what you can bring to the table, they, most of them would actually beg you to bring it. I don't know what this is. You should be more aware of what I'm talking about in here, but it's either something related to finances, it's something very valuable, it could be the insights, it could be that you've got something of an information or some sort of ways in which you can heal, or you can give or give some sort of guidance or guide people in general. But something has, like, something from this pile has a very valuable something very valuable that this pile has that can be potentially seen as so powerful, and so like you can make a lot of money from it and not working. I want to say Eight of Pentacles reversed. This type of pile is not meant in life to work physically. This pile is not meant to work their life off. This pile is meant to refine a sort of already existing innate skill. And I'm not only saying this from the perspective of go make money. No, it feels like the proper and the most fortunate way to make a living for this pile is going to be centered around providing a very valuable innate skill or quality to the world. And with a signal, I want to say most likely it could be spiritual, it could be intellectual, it could be creatively centered, it could be like creatively linked to something, but it's definitely something coming off from a very, like, let's say, this is my mark, this is my brand type of energy, you know, like this is self-made. Like it's the same type of energy you get from like a celebrity, because they create a trademark, if I'm not mistaken. It's as if they create a sort of label, they create a sort of personalized stamp in the area of work that they activate in. So it's like, you know, don't waste time, pile number 2, with building something in life that's very regular, which doesn't speak about you, about who you are, because I feel like you could waste time. I don't want to stress you out on this, because it feels like I also believe in divine timing and the right timing for the right things, and you do what's necessary at the right time in the circumstances in which you're presented in. But I would feel like this pile could be like a math genius, for example, working in a domain of life that doesn't require them to even have that skill set. Or it could be that, you know, you could be artistically gifted, and you could be working at a job that completely doesn't care about this or doesn't see you in such a way. People's impressions as well. I'm channeling this, it's so funny. They could be seeing that potential, they could be seeing that potential even better than you're capable of seeing it in yourself right now. Okay, people's impressions. You have Judgment, you have the Ace of Cups, and what else do you have? And the Star in reverse. Yeah, it's all like bottled up potential energy. Okay, and this is so interesting because it's in here in the read. It's like, when will you realize this? It's people around you see you in a better way than you are actually seeing yourself in. Maybe you are temporarily clouded, but by some sort of self-perception thingy. I don't know. But I want to say you've got some very powerful major arcanas in here. The Temperance card, the Judgment card, and the Star card. The Star card in reverse tells me that there are things about you. You could be very connected to people, but I want to say you're not fully connected with yourself to see yourself. Like it can be the case where, yeah, you, from your perspective, analyzing someone else's experience can be actually very on point and accurate. However, when it comes to detaching from your own identity, it can be a bit more hard, and I realize this is not easy to do. But with a Judgment, I feel like you are yet, people feel the change, like people feel like you are going to go very far, and they know this way better than you know it yourself. Yeah, something very powerful comes through this reading. And Ace of Cups, okay, this like very emotional energy. People like you can have a fan base, okay. When I say that, what do I mean? This could be people rooting out for you, looking out for your well-being. Also people who have you in very high regards, people who refer to you as being a very, very good friend. This is a very like the people you interacted with in the past, you have very grateful individuals, especially those who had the contact with that signal card energy I talked about, where you helped them, you gave them something really valuable. I would feel like they are more qualified to say and to assess your value than even you can assess your value, the value of yours by yourself. Yeah, something is happening with my verbal expression, but I guess that's the deal. Again, Three of Wands, you're going to go very far. I feel like, you're like still somehow learning, somehow like still refining yourself in this like signal card crown chakra. But I generally say, I like to say in this read that you leave a trail of very happy, very grateful, very grateful people that they had you in their life. Even with the Knight of Swords, it's as if people get this feeling of like even your haters can have something potential to learn from you. Like even their experience with you can be at times very valuable. Okay, what else can we say for this pile? Queen of Pentacles in reverse. Again, which when it comes to the material stuff, I feel like you're more so an expression, or the case where the spiritual aspect is the source for the material one. So whatever it is, like if you are doing some sort of practice, or if you're engaging in some sort of, I don't know, like special spiritual practice that is yours, this reading comes like with a confirmation that you should be doing that. And if not, and you feel called to do it, then it's basically a strong impulse or a strong message to go for it. Whatever it is that you did in the past, and you read people, or you were connected, you were very accurate with your perceptions, keep doing that and evolve, cultivate that even more, because you are headed for even greater results and even more gratification of sorts in this pile. Okay, yeah, I feel like, there is going to be a lot of inspiration, there is going to be a lot of emotional satisfaction or gratification with this pile in the long term, as if some sort of like spiritual aspect from this pile is going to be a source of happiness and material satisfaction or abundance. And this is all like people's impressions. This is hilarious. I feel like all that I've been talking about in here with this pile, it was all centered around what people saw in you. They feel like as if, it was all given to you like a gift of sorts, it was all like handed to you somehow. But I cannot really say, but it can be the case where people are born talented, or maybe you did something, who knows, maybe you worked on yourself so much that the result we have in here is one that's basically inspiring others. Okay, but with the Star in the reverse, I want to say this, and with the Judgment, the progress is still happening, the changes are still taking place. Okay, and this is not a pile which is going to have an end result today, in the meaning of who they are and like it's over. No, this pile is ever changing, ever like expanding, and ever evolving, which is very like powerful, which is very like good news for this pile. Yeah, Seven of Cups. You should definitely keep an inventory of your blessings and of your achievements or milestones, because you're yet going to have a lot of them and people are going to see them. I feel like this is talking about the future. Seven of Cups, I feel like people are going to see you in a very, like you are very gifted, or people see you already as being very gifted, but this is being very gifted right now, but in the future is going to be like the result of being so gifted. So you could have multiple like gifts of fate, gifts from the universe as a result of your hard work paying off. Okay, so that was all pile number 2. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to mention in the comment section that you chose pile number 2 linked to the crown chakra. And yeah, I'm really grateful you stayed and watched my video. Love you, take care. Okay, moving on to pile number 3, those of you who chose the solar plexus chakra or the solar plexus chakra essential oils, this is going to be a reading. The first card you got is the fuming. Now, I feel like I got the most awkward messages combinations for this pile for some reason. It's not your fault, but I guess like the energy was for some reason drawing some very interesting, specific, strange cards to interpret. Okay. The energy you give off or the secret impressions are basically that you are very serious, that you have a demeanor of authority, and like you have the founder and the hunter. I want to say it feels like you could be a loner because people recognize or have an impression that you don't let people close to you, despite with the lovers you being very like, let's say, attractive and alluring to people. With the founder, it's like a feeling to the read like you've got like too important stuff on your hands right now to even think about it. Also with the fuming, it's like it can be a message of an attitude or people thinking that you've got like an attitude, but it's all like they believe like it's all filtering itself out in this I have to solve important stuff. And I feel like, you know, in your case, people generally can dislike you for the fact that you are not necessarily interested in small talk, or generally speaking, like you don't like to waste time. But in over time, people get the respect for you that is like proper for your case, for your character. And the secret impressions, it's like you're someone who's really important, like you do something that's really important, like with the founder again, a very like core importance card in this case. In the hunter card, you have in here written sure-footedness and predestination. I feel like people have a feeling, a sense of this person has a greater purpose and they don't want to waste time with us, and they have this feeling like you are way too important to hang out with them. And I don't know whether it is something that you're doing consciously or not, but with sure-footedness, I feel like, you know, when you step into a room, it's like already you know what you're in for, what is your goal, like everything is already planned. And with the fuming, it's like a feeling like you perceive, like people think that you perceive them as obstacles. And the secret impression is like, we don't want to get in your way, but also there is a little bit of annoyance in here, of course. There is fear in this pile, and the impression they might get is that you are intimidating. That's what I saw with the Three of Pentacles. And again, and as well, you have the Lovers card. This is quite interesting. People's impressions as well can be that you want a relationship, or you want friends, or you want a close person besides you, but the impression is like you won't let it happen, or you won't let them close. I want to say in regards to impressions the general message is that you've got a lot of people creating impressions for you. With the Three of Wands, these are very indirect and like people who like to stalk, who like to observe, and you won't necessarily know who these are, but they are definitely watching you from the shadows. Also, with the fuming, I want to say there is like a secret impression that you are working on something really important. I don't know what it is. Perhaps people look at you and think that you have got something of a secret purpose that you're following, or like a secret agenda or something on the sides, on side, or maybe like you are working on different like streams of income if this is work related, but nonetheless it feels like a reading where, you know, people suspect that there is more to your activity than what's actually being seen. With the fuming as well, it's like, you know, you're way too serious for someone to just like reveal all of their cards. And also with the fuming, it's like, it's your face looks very troubled, like you're thinking a lot of something. And it's almost as if people can pick up on that, and they can actually, it can raise a lot of questions, you know, for some reason. Like, this is interesting because it falls into this category of mystery again. But yeah, basically it's like we want to know what they are doing, but we don't want to get into their way, or we don't want to be too obvious that we are actually interested in what it is that they're doing. I want to say your pile sparks a lot of curiosity and initiative in the ways in which people again can find out details and stuff about you in an indirect way. Also, it can be the case where people perceive you secretly as being very competitive, very also like goal driven, and with like Hunter, it's like I will get what's mine, or I will get what I put my mind to. I will achieve whatever it is that I put my mind to. That's the feeling that's linked to pile number 3. Also, with the founder, it's like, you know, there is a feeling like you are a part of a secret VIP club, or that you are a part of another group that's greater than the one that you are like coming in close contact with. You know, this reminds me of like situations at work where you might be, for example, friends with some sort of boss that's a higher up of your current boss, or something like this, you know, where it feels like, you know, people are very careful. People try to be very careful in their interactions with you. They try to somehow scout or test the ground before they get like a glimpse, or before they get an attempt to interact with you, so that they can better understand and like assess what's the proper way to interact with you in a very neutral way. I want to say it's like people are very careful for some reason. I don't know why, but their secret assumptions and secret impressions is that you are a very secretive, important person in society. I don't know why. I mean, you must know this for sure why. Maybe it's your energy that's embodying that kind of information, you know. Maybe it's the aura that you give off, but overall it's very like, I want to say business oriented, not necessarily like business like money. No, it can be something along the lines of, I'm pursuing something very interesting, and something that I'm really passionate about, and something that's really important to me. And this can come off as being really intimidating for people, and very like, I know what I want. Whereas you could be surrounded by people who can be more or less, you know, undecided, confused, and not so sure about what it is that they want to create in their life. You could be someone who is genuinely seeking or achieving the next or the other and the next like milestone in their life or achievement, and people could be more or less like inclined to actually hang out and just maybe like, let's say, waste time, even though I don't quite resonate with that idea. But still, it feels like there is something about this pile that's very driven and determined to succeed. I wanna also say that with the Chariot card, some people might have a feeling or an impression of you that you are very rich, or if you are not necessarily considering yourself that way, it's the energy that you embody. And what I've seen actually, it's very often that I find people who embody that kind of energy, sooner or later they actually are becoming that, or they are able to embody that element. Because when I see people, usually what it takes is like the emotional side of the embodiment to take place, and the rest kind of aligns. So Also, it can be the case that, you might be on the road, like as I said, on the road to achieving that. And with the chariot, like people would say, or secretly they assume that you've got like a very expensive taste, that you cannot settle for cheap stuff, or that you have this very elevated sense of taste and rank or status. And this is coming off like especially from the founder. Like this is a very interesting card because I remember reviewing it in the instructions. It's like a very serious, like, founder. This is someone who is basically, again, a founder, someone who creates a foundation, who leads, a leader. But I would say founder is, in comparison to the emperor energy, it's not someone who leads. It's someone who places the boundaries, someone who places the core of a project and lets it like work by itself. Again, this could be also about an energy of you looking ahead. This could be that you are very long-term oriented, or people, when they get a chance to actually create impressions of you, they realize that you are in for the long-term goals, achievements, and you have a very long-term thinking. Also, it can be the case. Like this is coming off from the founder and the chariot. Like I feel, for some reason, there is information talking about people seeing you as this conqueror, because the chariot person can be at times this type of person where, you could actively pursue something in life right now that can come off as really aggressive and very active, and you've got like no spare time. This is literally what I feel like with this pile, but you don't intend to actually have this space for basically forever. Um, I feel like, you can have that attitude of, I will go, I will achieve and conquer everything, but once I do conquer whatever it is that I want, I will settle. And there is, it's funny because I'm saying it, but there is an image of, you brushing off everything that's in your way. This could literally be people, relationships, things that are no longer benefit your goal. And it feels like a bit violent and dangerous to some extent, but not necessarily, because I feel like you can be very strong in placing boundaries. It just feels like, secret impressions of you are, you don't have to get in their way, or, we should leave them alone. Like that, like that's literally the energy that I'm picking up on. And again, it's like I don't want to leave you with the impression that you're a bad person, because you can easily jump to that after what I've just said. But no, it's because of the quality of how defined your boundaries are, people can actually assess you or say that you are like difficult, but this is not true. I feel like when, like, literally this pile is about the saying that when you say yes to someone, you say a no to something or to someone else. So basically that means if you are saying yes to your boundaries or to your purpose, then it means for some people, for some circumstances, and for some demographics of people, you're going to say a huge fat no. And this is literally the case where you can be perceived as egotistical or a bad guy for that, but it doesn't, it's really or literally irrelevant, because people will believe anything that they want to believe at the end of the day. And what's important, it's like your self, like your commitments to yourself, like your commitments to your journeys and your purpose, and your loyalty to your boundaries. um, we again have this very strong, powerful Nine of Pentacles, only fortifying the message of, you know, people get this feeling like either it is that you're already financially stable, independent, or flourishing. I must say Nine of Pentacles is headed towards the Ten of Pentacles. That means for me, in your case, you don't necessarily have everything settled or everything achieved as you would like it to look like, or as you'd like it to be. But I want to say you're definitely on the road to achieving it. And also, I want to say we have in here the Queen of Cups in reverse. The secret impressions is like people could have a feeling that you are struggling, or they think that you are overloading yourself, or that you are taking on too much responsibility, or a very huge, like a great workload that's not meant to be, or not necessarily that it's not meant to be, but it's like, people believe that you have a very complicated or very high stress lifestyle, where for you it can feel like more or less it's actually natural to your own pace of life and your own style of basically traversing this life. If anything, this pile is not seen, or is never gonna be seen, like this is the message or the impressions, as someone who's a victim. If anything, you are being seen, or the secret impression that you give is someone who's very wealthy, and someone who can be, if you're not already, and someone who's definitely empowered. Like, if anything, with pile number 3, especially with solar plexus, it's like the feeling of empowerment, the feeling of, I made it happen by my own hand because I wanted it to be like this. Also, with the Five of Pentacles in reverse, what I do see in your case, it's not like you're going to waste time stopping at a period in life and calling it life. Something about you, and this is also like channeling through the message of people's secret impressions. It can be that people look at you and realize, this is not everything. Like, this is not everything you're going to achieve. Like, this is not the baseline of, pile number 3, stop their progression. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, people look at it and say, like, this is not everything. I believe, I know, I see, I feel like they are going to achieve even greater things. Like, this is the Five of Pentacles in reverse. I feel like the difference in energy when I perceive it in your case, it's like usually people they meet circumstances, like let's say a partner, whatever, and kind of everything stops, or there is like a core level or a core need for setting, but like foundations, or settling, and sometimes settling, it can be good, but it can look like also in negative ways as well, where you can settle for a relationship, for example, that's not necessarily healthy. In your case, it feels like everything is ever changing, everything is ever moving, and the foundation aspect I was talking about, it's almost as if you place foundations and then you could reassess and readjust them with such flexibility that you have the next milestone. And I feel like this is not talking about destruction and starting from scratch. No, I feel like you are refining your foundations in life. I feel like people could learn a lot. They could look at you and they could secretly want to understand and learn the process in which you change, the process in which you transform things into your life. And this is interesting because, like, I say this message of, ever changing, transforming, whatever, and you still, I got the founder. So it could be the case that your foundation has a nature, and the nature of it never changes, but the structure around it can change temporarily, let's say. And this is all like a part of like a plan of, like, I follow what I want, to put it in like simpler terms. However, I want to say with the Queen of Pentacles, with the Queen of Cups, it's like, I don't know why, but people assume that you are not necessarily very happy, or they assume that you are not necessarily emotionally fulfilled, or they think that you have it all, like financially speaking, but Emotionally wise, people could consider you to be alone or to be in need of a partnership, or if you are with someone else right now, they could feel like you are not happy. And some will actually assume that you are actually covering up your emotions with money or with your ambition. This is also a high maintenance pile, very expensive taste pile as well. And I want to say it's interesting. This is the case where you could come off as, like, as I said, conflictual, very, like, let's say, I insist on my, like, I insist on playing on my own terms. I insist on playing the game with my own rules. Um, this has goods, this has like good sides and bad sides as well. But I want to say, whatever it is that you're doing and you believe it's like your journey, it's like you believe it's your path, like definitely continue on pursuing it. Because I definitely see a degree of success or fulfillment in here, especially talking about finances, like with the Nine of Pentacles. Like, I want to say it's a huge green flag. It's a huge yes for you to continue on aspiring and pursuing whatever it is that you liked or you consider it to be like your North Star. And definitely a praise for the fact that you are having this like very innovative and changing and transformative attitude in life, where you don't let yourself sink into despair or lack mentality. Um, and I want to say, be mindful that you've got a lot of people creating impressions of you and also interested in what it is, like whatever it is that you're doing. What's also interesting with the lovers in here, there are people who are very in tune with their emotions or the ways in which they observe you, or I don't know why, but they have this feeling like deep down inside with the Queen of Cups, like you desire this very fulfilling and very emotional relationship, like vulnerable emotional relationship. And they could see themselves like as the right fit. But for some reason, like you won't let them in, or you have this attitude of like being very guarded or very attentive with people's like interventions into your life, into your territory, you know. Also, there was a feeling of order, and I know I perhaps said that in the other piles as well, but the order in here will be more like sifted out in the direction of knowing what you want. And this is the type of order someone installs as a result of having a very defined desire for something, or a very defined sense of what achievement they want to create, like specifically a goal-oriented mindset. Being sifted out in the Nine of Pentacles would be someone who has like a charted plan or a map or a vision about what specifically they want to achieve and how they want it to look like. And this is also like in secret assumptions and secret impressions. It's people try and tend to compare themselves to you a lot, and they tend to minimize themselves. And there is like, I'm sure this pile must have had instances where they were asked what it is that you're working on or what do you think about life. And you must have said something, you must have vocalized some sort of concept or idea that you're following, and people heard about it and they compare themselves to it. And they realize that, you know, you are much more advanced in a lot of like things related to the ways in which you set goals or in your aspirations. And it was really intimidating for them. And it was like, let's say, they felt like a bit inferior. I don't like really channeling that kind of energy, but there is something about you that you don't have to necessarily like express, not to dim your light, of course. But I want to say you're capable of saying things, you're capable of displaying such things that people would be shadowed, like cast in shadow, and you would trigger a lot of them. I'm saying this in two ways, like don't necessarily try to do it on purpose. Again, if you follow something and you want to do it in a very rightful and ecological way where you don't want to hurt others, then take that in account. Don't dim your light, but at the same time, don't use that to your advantage and in their disadvantage, because I feel like there are steps into your game, there are steps into your purpose and life progression that could be revealed to people and they could feel really inferior in comparison to you. But this is like a message to not do this. Like don't try to do that. I know it can happen, but the idea in here, like a strong message of inclusion, like the message is trying to say, try to include people, try to have this inclusive mindset and help others. And I don't say like you don't help, I'm not saying that. I'm just reminding because it feels like there are elements to the table with this pile where they can come off very like enviable and also very intimidating to a lot of people. Like this is literally the metaphor of, let's say you hang out with like people who, let's say, can wear only a set of clothing that's, let's say, not very expensive but also like kind of like, let's say, cheap, and you could wear something that's extremely extravagant, or something about your outfits can be a sign of very expensive items. And in this case it would be like, don't try to wear very expensive things on purpose to make your status known. You can do that, but you don't have to do it in the disadvantage of this demographic of people. And it's interesting because I was looking at the Lovers card and I could see a person in the distance feeling like left out. Maybe this is a message about secret assumptions also, that people try or they would like to be closer to you, but they feel like you're going to leave them out, or they feel like they're going to basically be in your shadow and they would rather keep their distance so that they can have this sense of autonomy or some sort of degree of control. I want to say there is like very pure, very fun, innocent energy, like people just genuinely wanting to hang out in your presence. But again, it's like something as an obstacle prevents that from happening with pile number 3, because they feel like whether knowingly or not, consciously or not, you feel unreachable. Also with the hunter, they secretly assume that you have like this mastermind type of mindset, or that you try, or that you actually have elements to you that make you ahead of the game. Whatever it is that you are, like a very cunning nature. People could assume that you are very cunning, very smart, and very sly with the hunter in reverse. You know, it's like the hunter in reverse is like the case where you could achieve things that you want, or you can make them happen, even if it doesn't mean necessarily going for them in a very direct way or manner. This could literally be about a workplace, for example, where you could be friends with a lot of people. You could be having like real good and very positive and diplomatic relationships with people, and that could be something that's benefiting you a lot, like a great deal. And you know, it can be the case where people say, you know, I don't know what they did, but at the end of the day, they still kind of got whatever it is that they wanted, or whatever it is that they put their mind to, it happened. Like it I don't know how, like, you know, it can be the case with a metaphor where you wanted money and you got that money, and people look at you and say, I don't know how they did it, but they wanted it and they made it happen. Like I didn't even see the process itself. I'm not sure if I saw the process. Like how did they get this? How did they achieve this? And a lot of question marks about the spile as well, with secret assumptions. Like literally it's like a secretive person. You're being perceived as a very secretive person in general, and a lot of mystery to you at the same time. So yeah, that was all pile number 3. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If you did, please mention in the comment section that you chose pile number 3 or the solar plexus chakra. This is going to be like the code or the password, okay? Yeah, I think that's all. Hope you stay safe. Take care.